So today we are going to take a hike on the trails at Attitash Mountain Resort. We've been coming here for over 40 years, and never once did we hike the trails out behind the resort. We've always left the resort and hiked the Kangamangas or other areas here in the White Mountains. So today we thought we'd stay put at the resort and head out back in the woods and check it out. I've heard people talk about these trails a lot. A lot of them say they're poorly marked, and there are a bunch of trails out here that break off in different directions, and they say it can be a bit confusing. So we'll take a walk in and see just what it's all about. So we're going to jump off trail here for a second. Saw a sign saying Saco River Beach. Like I said, never been down here before. So for future reference, when we're up here when it's a little bit warmer, check this out and see if it's worth going out to go swimming. Well, clearly with the drought that we've been having up in the northeast, the water level is way down. So it's not too much of a beach here, although you'd have to wade out across these rocks to get to the water. So far the trail conditions out here in spots are very rocky. Looks like they put a lot of river rock down to help with washouts, which would make it difficult for anybody with any type of a mobility device to get over. Other than that, so far, as you can see here, they're quite wide and clear and be very easy to move across. So probably with a little help, if somebody did have a device, they would be able to get over the washout areas. And you can probably hear in the background the train whistle from the Conway Scenic Railway heading up to Bartlett. And we're walking back into a rocky section again. No big boulders to walk over, just a lot of what look like river rocks. Along the way they have little stations that you can stop at. They have some designated exercises and stretching exercises that you can do. So the trail is pretty wide, but there are a number of spots we're coming across with a lot of rocks on it, a lot of roots now. Could still be done with any type of a device with a little assistance. But clearly the main path is well defined. So we're going to get off trail here for a second, follow this sign out to the swimming area and check this one out. Like I said, I've been coming up here for over 40 years. Staying at Attitash. I've always known about these trails out here. I've always known about the river and swimming area and beach. Never once did I come out and check it out. So this is all new to me. This here is the second swimming area that they've marked out. Looks like when the water level is up, this would be a great place to come out and just wade in the ice cold river. I have swam in this river a number of times. It comes down off the mountains and it is ice cold. Here are a couple arrows taking you off the main trail, bring you back down to the river, and then bring you back onto the main trail. The other issue out here on the trail is they've got some parts of the trail that are quite sandy. So again, if you are using a wheeled device, this could be problematic for you a bit. But with a little help, you'd get through it and get back on some hard pack. While we're out here hiking, let's talk about bears for a second. We did come across the bear when we were walking out here. He was posing on the side of the path. But in all the years that we have been coming up here, I have come across bears on 2 occasions. When we're out here hiking, or for that matter hiking any place in the White Mountains, we always hike with a can of bear spray, because you just never know. I've seen some postings on some hiking sites where people say they never carry bear spray because the bears leave you alone and they never run into them. And for the most part, they're correct. It's not often you run into them, and they do leave you alone, unless you happen to upset a mother bear with her cubs, in which case you may have a problem. But in any event, the 2 that I did run into was when we were going up Attitash Mountain. There was a bear tearing a log apart, eating grubs or whatever it was he was looking for. And I don't think he even saw me. I saw him and I just kept going my way, and he sat there and continued to dine on the log. And then the next time I saw them was actually in the resort of Attitash. There was a group of bears dumpster diving. And the resort does have signs around the dumpsters telling you to be aware of the bears and stay away from them if they are dining at the local dumpster. But for the most part, they stay out of the resort. I only saw them that one time dumpster diving. Although the resort did change the dumpsters after that. They had plastic tops on top of the dumpsters, and the bears made short note of that. Now all the dumpsters are steel with a sliding door that is locked with a clasp so that they can't get into the dumpsters. But other than that, that's my experience with bears here. I do have my bear spray. Hopefully I never have to use it, but knowing I have it, I feel a little bit better. If you've been up in the White Mountains hiking and you have had a bear encounter, post it below. I'd love to hear about it. In particular, I'd love to hear where you were. So if I'm ever out on that trail, at least I'll know in the back of my mind that bears have been spotted on the trail. So again, the trail is marked fairly well, but we just came to a point where we have 1, 2, 3, 4 trails going off. We're going to stay on the main trail, which is straight ahead. And it looks like this trail ends at Thorn Pond. And it's looking like Thorn Pond is probably going to be close to 2 miles. So out and back would be a 4-mile hike. And here's the intersection. So we're going to take a... I will say using an app has been helpful walking these trails. Although they have been, this main trail has been marked pretty well leading out to the pond. But the app has taken any doubt away. And we're almost out to Thorn Pond at this point. But as you can see by the trail, quite a few routes across the trail here. And this appears to be the steepest part of the hike, going down this little hill. And as you can see, the trail has finally narrowed down to a walking path as we are coming up on the pond. About a 1/4 mile away is my guess. I have a feeling the pond that we're walking out to is not going to be much of a pond. Everything's looking pretty dry out here right now. And we've just walked to the other end of the trailhead. Well, it looks like the pond is a good-sized pond. Looks like there's plenty of water in it. Looks like there's a nice dry hydrant there for the fire department to connect to, so they can get water they need for this area. And this is Thorn Pond. So that's Thorn Pond. That's the end of the trail. That was 1.88 miles out. So we've turned around now and we're gonna hike our way back. Well, that completes the trail at Attitash Mountain Village Resort. It was 3.3 miles round trip out and back. It was just under 9,000 steps for you folks that like to count your steps. The trail was pretty wide the whole way. There was some roots, there were some rocks as I talked about on the way. But it was definitely a great trail to hike. I'd recommend it. It's a good trail for all levels. Again, somebody that has mobility issues using anything with wheels may have some issues in part of the trail, but with some help, they'd be able to get through it as well. There are some areas on the trail that are quite sandy. Makes it a little tougher to walk in the sand, but they're just short little spurts. A lot of off trails that shoot off the main trail, but they're marked pretty well, although there are some that make it questionable as to which way you need to go. I did use an app, and the app did help keep us on the trail. So out of 5 stars, I'd give this probably a 4.5 stars. And I'm only going 4.5 and not 5 because of the roots and the rocks on the trail. The rocks, though, are not rocks that you have to climb over. It looks like they were placed on the trail to assist the trail from washing out, keeping the soil in place and so forth. But other than that, like I said, a solid 4.5 stars. Recommended for anybody.